This episode is brought to you by Volunteer Fleet Services. They are veteran-owned by Greg Anderson and operated out of Murfreesboro, Tennessee, and are part of a nationally recognized organization known as Fleet Services International. They service the surrounding areas on diesel trucks with a mobile maintenance service and a local shop. You can reach them at 615-648-1455, or you can catch them at 3939 Richard Reeves Drive, Suite I in Murfreesboro, Tennessee 37127. Check them out for all your needs and they'll get you squared away. Thanks. This episode is also brought to you by Willard Roofing Renovations of Middle Tennessee. They are veteran owned and operated by my boy Matt Willard. Matt has been in the roofing industry for 14 years and is a HAG certified inspector and prior adjuster. They do residential roofing, siding, and gutters, plus leak detection and assessment and repairs on top of free estimates and inspections. Some of the roofs they do come from insurance claims, from storm damage, but they do out-of-pocket quotes as well. He's got 5 consultants all over Middle Tennessee, and they'll get you squared away ASAP. Thank you. Let's do this. What is up, everybody? This is Joe Adams, and welcome to the Relentless Pursuit Podcast. What we do on this podcast is bring in individuals from all different backgrounds, all different walks of life, to share their story, their journey, and everything along the way that led them to where they're at today. Tons of inspiration, wild stories, and we leave nothing off the table. So if that is for you, please subscribe, like, share, check us out. If that's not for you, you've got a problem and you need to re-gear things and jump on board. We'd love to have you. But without further ado, I would like to introduce our guest, someone I've been very excited about getting on here since we spoke a couple weeks ago, Mr. Rick Cheatham.
Thanks, man. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Hey, honored to have you, Rick.
It's an honor to be here.
You've got a, I heard your story over the phone, a good bit of it without going into too much detail. And you've got a very inspirational story. You've got a lot of wisdom. You've been through a lot, and I'm excited to have you share this. So shout out to our boy Chad King.
Big time.
For connecting us.
That's my man right there.
Yeah, Chad's a good dude, and I'm very grateful for him, sending me your information, lining this up. So it's going to be really cool.
Oh, he was a big inspiration on this last half of my journey, this last 3 years. So
yeah,
I get a big shout out to him and his wife Jen.
Yeah, hey, she's a firecracker.
Shouldn't she?
Yeah, I trained both of them, and totally different personalities, but they mesh well. And Jen was a lot of fun to be around as well. So great people, but they actually live right up the road.
Really?
Yeah, they probably live like a mile away from here. So, but anyways, Rick, briefly, before we, take it back, tell us what it is that you currently do right now in your life, what you got going on, and then, rewind.
Right now, I'm a transformational speaker.
Okay.
And coach for life and career. So I help people deal with their own internal issues in life and help them to translate that into their careers or their business. And I also speak on stages as a keynote speaker whenever the opportunity arises.
I mean, I have no doubt some amazing opportunities are going to blossom from everything you're doing. So I'm excited to see what you do there.
Me too. I'm looking forward to it all, man.
Hell yeah, man. Well, now let's talk about how you got to this place in your life. 62 years, right?
62. Well, I'll be 62 in August.
Nice.
So I'm almost there.
Right around the corner, man.
Right around the corner.
Beautiful. So take us back a little bit. We want the audience to get to know you on a deeper level. Where are you from? How you were raised, influences, and so forth, and we'll dive into everything else.
Absolutely, sure. I was born in Northern California, in a town called Fremont, which is just outside of Oakland.
Okay.
And at the age of 7, my dad moved us down south to a town called Norwalk,
Yeah.
just outside of L.A. My dad got a preaching gig, so he was a preacher for the Church of Christ.
Nice.
And that's what brought us south, and that's what I grew up most of my life as a preacher's kid.
Yeah. A lot of responsibility.
A lot of it was a lot of light on us, you know.
Watch what you do.
Yeah, you have to live this certain expectation. And I mean, I get it. I get it, but as a kid I sure didn't.
No.
I resented the hell out of it, man.
Yeah.
Why are all my friends out there doing this and they're having fun and I've got to
You often hear about, like, you know, preachers' kids getting a little wild because they they kind of go crazy having to be on the light in the light.
Preachers' kids are known to be the wild ones, and I lived up to the stereotype very well.
Oh yeah, how so?
Oh man, I mean I got into trouble. I did things that I wasn't supposed to do. I mean, I ended up getting in the military and had some issues in there. Ended up doing drugs when I got out. Got into selling cocaine and.
Well, hey, I want to get there. So,
I mean, I got all
went head first into
but
dang.
yeah,
Okay.
I wasn't the preacher's kid role model, if you will, for people.
Dang. So, so was your but obviously was your dad like a pretty positive influence in your life? Were you pretty involved with him and your mother?
Yeah, still. I mean, they're still, even though they're divorced, they still have a big influence on me.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
My dad especially, he's been through, you know, alcoholism. He's got 28 years sober now, and just
Congrats to him.
he just goes out and he hits it. He's 81 years old, and he's out there every day just helping people through AA and
That's
getting
awesome.
their lives back, man.
Trying to make a difference.
Trying to make a difference.
Good
Still
deal.
doing it today. He's always been a guy to make a difference in people's lives.
Yeah, and that's obviously I see that's carried over into your life now for sure. So it's pretty cool how you followed suit with that.
I give him a lot of credit for the man I am today.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, I mean, you got to reflect on that. I constantly do so with my father now too. The older I get, the more grateful I am for his influence. So, grew up in Southern Cali, you know, into sports and anything like that.
Yeah, grew up playing baseball, all sports actually. I mean, I loved basketball, I loved football, but high school I played baseball and football primarily.
Yeah.
My mom and dad ended up moving from moving from Norwalk even deeper into the south into a town called Elsinore. And Elsinore, it was this real small school town, and I came from a bigger school in Norwalk, and then my junior year shifted gears, and here I am in this. I think we had 98 graduating seniors in my class.
That's kind of what happened with me in high school.
It was just like at that one transition of, you know, you're going from your sophomore year into your junior year, and now you're leaving all your friends, and now you got to start all over and try to get accepted, try to be one of the fellas.
Yeah, then in small towns, everybody's a little bit more close knit.
Oh, a lot more, and especially when they all grew up together. But I was fortunate. I had a brother with me. My brother was
That's cool.
We tease him. He's little. He's not 9.5 months younger than I am. So right now we are actually the same age.
Nice. Hell yeah.
So he was very close with me. So between he and I,
one right after the other,
we didn't have a hard time fitting in, and I always had somebody with me. So it wasn't like I was out there alone trying to figure out how to have friends. I always had my brother.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. I have a little sister. She's not too much younger than me as well, like 16 months or something like that. But yeah, I mean, in high school from freshman to sophomore year, I did a big move like that from a bigger city in Georgia, and then we moved to North Carolina, or Mayberry.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
I
lived in Pilot Mountain, so like that's where Andy Griffith.
That's where it was originated from, or what the storyline was about. Right?
Yeah, they call it Mountain Pilot in that show. But yes, I moved to there, and it was a huge shift, right? And luckily, I was an athlete. I was a football player, so got in with that right off the bat, and I started making friends. But it's crazy, like shifting gears like that from a bigger area to small. But it's also pretty cool.
Yeah, and for me, my brother and I were pretty talented baseball players,
It helps.
That helps. That helps a lot. So when I got to Elsinore, I immediately plugged in with sports.
Yeah.
And, it didn't take long before they were, hey, this kid can play. So he's
accepted.
probably a good dude to have on the team. And
Yeah.
so we were accepted right away. And we still have very good friends to this day from actually both schools, Norwalk and Elsinore. So
Nice.
And then, I thought I was going to go play college ball, and then my dream was to play pro. And I went to college at Cerritos College in Norwalk, back up to where all my friends were. And I had gotten injured with a shoulder problem in my senior year of high school. Thought it was healed up. Got to college, and blew my shoulder out again just before they made the final cut for the team. So I redshirted. And after I redshirted, I thought, what am I going to do? I don't want to go to school.
They hit your ego, yeah.
I'm not here to study, man. I want to play ball.
Yeah.
But I couldn't. And I didn't have any insurance. There was no way to get my arm fixed. So it was another one of those, well, let's just let time heal it over again. We'll see what happens next year. Well, I had a buddy of mine that was just got recruited into the military, and he came home on what they called recruiter's leave, and he recruited me and my best friend into the military. And here's was the selling point.
Oh, so he just had gotten out of basic training?
He had just got out of he got out of basic training, and then he came home for 6 months instead of just a regular month leave. He came home for 6 months. I think it was 6, but it was called recruiter's leave. So he got to come home and be a recruiter in his hometown.
Interesting.
So he recruited me and my buddy. We were all friends.
Yeah.
And the recruiter said, "Man, we can get you overseas in Germany. You're gonna love it there. You can be a truck driver. You can be driving cross country in West Germany. All the people that get over their permanent party, once they get their belongings shipped over, you guys will be bringing it to their residence."
Yeah.
I thought, man, that'd be cool.
What branch was this?
His Army.
Okay.
So I got over there, and they also said, we'll get your arm fixed. So then when you get out of the military, you'll still be young enough. You can go back and get your career going again. I mean, it sounds like a good idea. I go, and it was like a 2-year gig. It wasn't a big thing. It was, all right, 2 years. I'll have my buddy with me. We do it together. 2-year commitment doesn't seem like a bad gig.
Yeah.
And so off we went, and got through basic, got through AIT, the training, and my buddy decided he wasn't going to do it no more. He got out of the military on hardship discharge.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, he was the last surviving member of the namesake, and so he was able to take advantage of that. It was kind of pissed me off a little bit because when we were in basic training, we had the Army Rangers come up and say, "Hey, man, you guys interested in changing your MOS and you can become a Ranger in Special Forces?" And I'm thinking, dude,
yeah.
that's it. Yeah, let's do that. So I'm trying, let's do that, man. Come on, Wendell, we can do that. And no, let's just stick with the plan. Let's go be truck drivers.
Yeah.
All right. So
Play it safe.
Play it safe, yeah. So all right, man, we'll be truck drivers in Europe. Let's do it.
That's not too bad either.
That's not a bad gig. So we get over to Europe, and I'm in Germany, my permanent party. I go in, and they said, "Okay, man, this is what we got going for you." And I said, they asked me, where do you want to be stationed? I said, I just want to be stationed somewhere that I'll be able to drive truck all over the place.
Yeah.
Any place but the infantry.
Yeah.
I think that was my actual words. Any place but the infantry.
Yeah.
Said, well, congratulations, you made it. We're going 250 mechanized infantry up in the north end of West Germany. I'm thinking, oh my God.
They sold it though.
They sold it.
That's what happens. Yeah.
They sold it big time. So here I am up in the northern half of West Germany, right off the North Sea. Cold weather up there.
Yeah.
And I'm in the infantry. And they give me a 5-ton pickup truck or 5-ton truck, and my duty was to drive infantrymen all over to wherever they need to go.
Yeah.
Primarily, I was the ammo driver. So all the ammunition that we would carry, I was part of that group to bring it up to them. First day in permanent party, my first sergeant comes up and he gives us all the typical story about, where you are, what we're doing, what our mission is. He goes, I just want you all to know, if war ever breaks out, we got about 7 seconds to live. So we're nothing more than a sounding bell for the boys down south. Damn. So if it happens, just bend over, say your prayers, and kiss your ass goodbye. I'm like, well,
that's reassuring.
What have I gotten into?
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
Damn.
Man, this isn't what they sold me. And now I'm starting to talk to my buddy. I'm like, hey, bro.
Yeah.
That recruiter's leave thing, man, I don't know if this is working out. Anyway, we made it work.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, I decided, okay, well, I got to go to sick call and start getting this arm figured out, because the whole purpose here is I'm playing ball when I get done.
Of course.
I get over to permanent leave. I go to sick call, tell them my story. They said, they laughed. They go, brother, you don't want us messing around with that arm. Our surgeons, man, they're good and all, but they're not that good. They're not orthopedic. These guys will jack your shoulder up, man. You'd be lucky if you can lift your hand up over your head.
And shoulder or injuries stick with you.
Oh, they stick with you. I still have it to this day. I mean, I'm very cautious what I do with my right arm.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, I'm thinking, well, the whole reason I got here was to get my arm fixed.
Yeah.
And now you're telling me you're not even going to fix my arm?
Yeah.
So now I'm here for 2 years and I'm still in the same boat when I get out. I got to figure out how to get my arm fixed so I can figure out how to play ball again.
Damn.
And it pissed me off.
Yeah, that sucks.
It pissed me off. So they plugged me in with a bunch of cooks when I first got there. And these guys were party animals. And in the military, those are the guys you want to hang out with, because when it comes to chow, these boys had it.
They got the food squared away.
Squared away. So we ended up going down that road with these guys, and unfortunately, I got a little too tied in with them, and I got my first Article 15. Doing something stupid. I don't even remember what it was.
I'm pretty sure most people get one at some point.
But I got my first Article 15 and got some discipline. Didn't think nothing of it. And then things started to go a little south with my platoon. Just started having some issues with some of the folks that were coming in there. Had some issues with my sergeant. We'd go out on maneuvers, and it would seem like all of us guys who were of a certain color were getting shipped to the duties of trash detail.
Ah.
So our trucks were just nothing more than garbage trucks for the kitchen detail.
You're like, damn it, man, this is so far from what I was told.
Now I'm not only driving truck cross country. Now I'm a freaking garbage man.
Talk about a shift.
Talk about a huge shift. And so my mindset just started going, okay, dudes, you guys are lying to me. You've sold me a bill of goods. And now every time we go out on maneuvers, it's my truck that gets hammered out. I got to go empty the damn thing. Then I got to clean the damn thing. And then I get back in and I got to do it all over again.
Yeah.
So I finally got to a place where I was done.
Yeah.
And I told my sergeant, he assigned me to trash detail. I said, nope, ain't happening. I'm not doing it. Well, you're going to get the article. I don't give a crap what you give me, man, but I've had enough of this.
Yeah.
And I'm not doing it anymore. So you go get one of your boys, let them handle it. They can join in on the trash detail, but I'm not doing it anymore. You do whatever you got to do. He goes, you know what? He goes, how about I take you in the woods and give you a little life lesson. I go,
what?
You want to take me out to the woods?
What does that even mean?
What does that mean? So I said, all right, well, let's go to the woods. Let's see what this is.
Yeah.
So I follow him out to the woods, and I've got galoshes on, He tells me, well, you better take them shoes off because you're going to need it when I'm done with you. I'm thinking, man, this dude is serious, man.
It's insane.
He wants to kick my ass. So out to the woods we go. And he turns around. This guy was a Vietnam vet. And he turns around and he just gets in this karate move or something. I'm looking, I go, hold that, Doc. Come on now, Sarge. Come on, this ain't cool. And then he takes a swing at me. Thinking, dude, I can't do it. I said, I'm gonna get fired. I'm gonna get discharged. I'm gonna go to jail. I'm gonna do all that. And he said, no, this is between me and you, man to man. I said, okay. So I lit him up and busted his ass so bad he had a cut across his eyes, blood gushing down.
Nice.
Knocked his ass out, and then I'm scared now. Now I'm going, okay, now what am I going to do? So I go running out of the woods, and my boys were sitting back in the tent looking, and here they see me coming running. And they go, oh, Henry's chasing him now. He's running from Henry. He's running from him. They didn't know is Henry was down cold in the woods, and I was running back saying, man, you guys better get back there, help. I think I killed him.
Holy shit, dude. This is like, you don't hear about this stuff happening in the military now.
No, this stuff would never happen today.
When was this?
This was 81.
Good God, yeah. I
82,
mean,
somewhere in there.
Nowadays they don't. That's out
stuff,
the window.
That stuff doesn't happen at all. This is old school, man. This is
changed a lot.
This is the end of the Vietnam era.
Yeah.
So all those boys that were in Vietnam, I was getting at the end of their careers.
Yeah.
You know, they went in the early 60s. This is now early 80s, so they're right at the end of their careers.
And they've got a chip on their shoulder.
They're and a lot of them have some mental issues too.
Yeah. It's sad.
They were crazy.
Yeah, I can only imagine, man. That is wild. It's like something out of a movie.
So we end up coming back, and Sergeant Henry finally comes stumbling out of the woods, and I thought, that's it, man. I'm done. I'm gonna get written up. He covered it, man. He says, you know what? I got utmost respect for you, bro.
You kicked my ass.
He said, I didn't think you had it in you. Some California kid, Southern California kids. When I got in the Army, I had these blue tinted glasses. These blue, because everybody had those Superman, those black frames. And, and here I am. I've got blue tint, man. And I'm like, cool as shit, man. I'm like, walking in.
Cali
guy, And so this is what he called. He goes, you and them come fuck me glasses. They gotta go.
They gotta go. The come fuck me glasses. That's awesome.
So here I have he comes in. He goes, I didn't think you had it in you, but he goes, you got my respect. And then he turned to his boys and said, hey, you're on trash detail.
Hell yeah.
And me and my boys were like, okay, cool, man.
You earned it.
We're out, buddy. We're out. We don't have to deal with it no more. And he covered my back.
That's cool.
One of our second lieutenant who was in charge of our unit, he asked, hey, what happened to your head? Well, man, it looks like you got your ass whooped. And he goes, He goes, I turned just when one of the trucks was coming by and popped me in the head with a mirror. And he goes, hey, man, you look like you might need some stitches.
You're like, oh, shit.
I'm like, man, I'm so thankful. But everybody knew. Everybody in our platoon, everybody knew what happened.
That's kind of cool, though. I mean, honestly, I appreciate that, things being handled that way, because I think looking at things today, I think more things need to be handled like that. Like sometimes dudes just need to duke it out.
Yeah.
And you can settle so much because at the end of the day, you're going to respect each other.
Yeah.
And I think it could be a lot more effective than paperwork a lot of times.
Yeah, it can be a lot more effective, and it is.
Yeah.
In today's culture, unfortunately, that's not
tattletale culture.
That's not an option anymore. I mean, you say something to hurt somebody's feelings, and the next thing you know, they're after you, or you're especially if you're in corporate America.
Yeah, it's insane, and
it's ridiculous.
And unfortunately, I was in the military for 6 years, and it's just got more political, and corporate in a way over time. And I was just like, you know what, I'm good. Not knocking it. I've got a lot of friends still in, but and I respect it. But it's not like that. Yeah. It used to be. There's that hard aspect to it, I guess, and you could duke it out and handle things that way. But now it's shifted a lot.
Well, when I was younger and I was in the military, I had a chip on my shoulder. I mean, I was a young kid, and now the military's lying to me. They're telling me I'm going to do this, and now they're doing that. And so I had this little chip, and I was pissed off some of the time. And sometimes you had to handle business. Yeah. One of the first things I was told when I got there says you got to either kick ass or get your ass kicked.
Yeah, that
was the mentality. And I said, well, it's kind of like going to prison, I guess.
Yeah, right.
Thank God I never went there, but still. So that's the mentality I took. And after a while, I could start to see the writing on the wall that this was not going to be a good fit for me.
Yeah.
I'm up in the northern part of West Germany. I'm not liking my detail. The military's lied to me. I've got this jacked up wing now that I ain't going to get fixed. Mm-hmm. And now I got to go home and start all over again. So I made a decision. I made a conscious decision. Says, I'm getting out.
Yeah.
I know it's only a 2-year gig, but I'm getting out. I want out now. And so I figured that 3 Article 15s was enough to get my ass booted. And unfortunately, I guess it's because they knew what my game was. I got 5 and got military escort out of country.
Damn.
In 1982.
So they took it to an extreme.
They took it to the extreme. And I was told, you will never amount to anything. Your career will be over forever. There's never anything you will be able to do that'll be satisfying. I mean, you're just going to be relegated to the outskirts of life because you couldn't handle the military. I said, you guys don't understand. I can handle the military. What I can't handle is being lied to.
Yeah.
Being attacked, being cheated. Those are things I did not set well with me at all. So I knew my mind was strong enough that it didn't matter what you tell me, I'm gonna be able to figure it out.
Yeah.
So I ended up getting out and found a job right away. Transitioned out of the military in November of 1982, and now I got to figure out what I'm going to do with my life. And fortunately, I had a gig already lined up, and moved back to my hometown, Elsinore area, but where I grew up was just outside of Elsinore. It was called Canyon Lake.
Okay.
And it was a beautiful lake. It was more like a resort than anything else. I mean, it was just a wonderful place as a high schooler to grow up in. And me and my brother, we'd go camping behind the dam, and we'd go fishing, and we'd go hunting rabbit, and we got very good with our aim, and we'd pick lizards off of rocks. And I mean, we were just an ideal kid, having a great time. Yeah. And so I get back in that environment, and well, now I'm in charge of doing weed abatement for keep things for fire containment, brush away from houses and vacant lots, and almost all of Canyon Lake back in the early 80s was just inundated with vacant lots.
Yeah.
So you got these custom homes built up out there, and so they always wanted to make sure that there was some abatement between the houses. So there was a guy out there that I ended up going to work for and moved into his house, and he lived out in Long Beach, I think, but he rented me out his house. I got all my buddies out there, and so we just went town, man. Weed whackers and tractors, man. And we were just scraping the dirt out there, man, just having a good old time. And that's where I started to really get off the wagon here, man. I mean, I got off the reservation big time. I started selling weed, started selling coke.
How'd you just cause? Like, how did that get introduced?
One of the guys I brought in as a roommate was selling. And so
you saw the money.
I saw the money, and I saw, everybody liked the dealer, man.
They're like, yeah, you want to be in good with that guy.
You want to be in good with that guy.
Yeah.
So I just started kind of doing what he was doing and getting in more trouble. Cops coming to the house every now and then because parties were just out of control. We lived on a street, and for all those guys who knows Canyon Lake, it was Vacation Drive. And our address was 2001 Vacation Drive. And so we made it a vacation. I mean, we had parties that were ragers. I mean, neighbors were just constantly on our case.
And y'all were selling too. So
and
you're
we
always
were selling.
so
we always had the goods. I mean, it was just a wild lifestyle. Just a wild lifestyle when I got out of the military.
Just rock and roll.
And, I'm doing, mushrooms and, just anything and everything.
Yeah.
Everything but heroin. I always knew I wasn't going to do that.
Yeah.
My pops brought in a guy when we were kids trying to kick heroin, and I watched him go through withdrawals, and me and my brother looked at each other, you're going to never do that.
Yeah. Yeah. You got to see it up close.
I got to see it up front, man, and it was nasty. So I thought, they're never going to do that. So I didn't. I stopped it. My biggest drug, I think, would have been cocaine.
Yeah.
And that was before crystal meth and all that stuff was coming out. So it was all pure stuff. Nothing was cut with any of the stuff. But I started to see that people were starting to cut it with baking soda and, these different things. Man, this ain't right. This is going to hurt somebody.
Now fentanyl and stuff like that.
Cutting, who knows what fentanyl is one of them for sure.
Yeah.
So anyway, I started getting to a place where it was getting old. Now I'm 22 years old, maybe 21, 22 at the most. And I'm starting to see that this is just not the lifestyle for me, man. It's like I was raised different, man. I was raised to have a spiritual connection. I was raised to, have some morals.
It was kind of draining your soul.
And it was just depleting me.
Yeah.
It was depleting me. So me and a buddy of mine, we go up on this hill one night, there was a big party going on at my house, and I just had to get away. We go up on this hill, and we have all eaten some mushrooms, and we're having this hallucination, and we're seeing things. But I had a moment of clarity. And in that moment of clarity, I said, "You see that out there? What is it that you see, Phil?" And Phil tells me, "I see lights." I go, "No, man, look deep. What is it? What do you see?" He goes, "I don't know, Rick. What do you see?" I said, "I see a bunch of people who are lost. I just see people who are struggling. I see people who are trying everything to just anesthetize what's going on in life."
Yeah.
I said, "And that's me. That's where I am right now, bro." I said, "I'm sitting up here and I'm popping these mushrooms, and that's not who I am.
Yeah.
That's not what I'm about."
I think the mushrooms are, I'm a proponent for, I support them as a tool.
Absolutely.
Very much spiritual and also working on yourself. So I'm a big believer in them, not necessarily for partying. I don't like where that goes, but you were able to have this moment of clarity
While on
mushrooms. Because mushrooms will usually take you there, and if you allow them, they'll put you in a place of like realization and
put you in a spiritual state.
Yeah.
People don't look at it spiritual for my upbringing, from where I come from.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not what they call it, but man, I had it. I had that moment. In Germany, I was doing acid, and that was just a totally different animal.
Yeah.
And so when I'm doing these mushrooms, I'm thinking, man, what do you see, Phil?
Yeah.
And that's where I came to this moment. I said, I got to get out of here. And so I moved back to Orange County. I got out of that environment, started going back to church, and now I'm starting to really plug back into my heritage.
Yeah.
My upbringing. And I had this guy come in, and I'd probably been going there for a year now. I had this guy show up. It was a preacher, and he says, one of his sermons was, ask God what you want, man. Just test him. Ask him. I think, man, you don't ask God just to give you stuff. And challenged me. So at the time, I knew that I wanted to be married.
Yeah.
I wanted to have a wife. I wanted to have a family. I wanted to get out of this party lifestyle. I didn't want to be involved with the drugs. And I knew that, having a relationship would be that fulfillment for me. So I go out in the parking lot after that sermon I heard, and I prayed, man. I prayed hard. I said, Lord, I'm looking for a woman. I'm looking for a wife. And I got very detailed and very specific. Not just a wife. I want 5'1" to 5'3". I want 103 to 105 pounds. I want dark complexion. I want long black hair flowing. I want her to be so beautiful that when people saw her walk in the door, every head turned. I want her to do certain things for me physically in the bedroom. I mean, I was detailed.
Yeah.
Every breast size, I mean, you name it. It was detailed.
Yeah.
And then when I sat down with that prayer, I felt guilty. Like, holy crap, I just prayed for nothing but my own physical flesh and what I needed.
Yeah.
But I ended it with these words, and these words have been the guiding force of my entire life since then. But most importantly, Lord, I pray that she will help me become the man of God you want me to be. Amen.
Hell yeah.
God's
like, you know what? I can work with that.
Yeah, I can work with that. You don't know what it's going to take to make you the man of God you need to be, but hey, I'll give you what you're looking for.
Well, that without getting there, to me, it's just like, that's what you wanted, but were you ready for it at the time?
I was ready for the beauty.
Yeah.
I wasn't ready for the beast.
Yeah. You weren't ready for the work.
The work that comes along with it.
But it was necessary.
So 2 weeks after that prayer, the exact vision of my prayer walked through the back door, or through the front door, but it was back to the church building.
Yeah.
She walked in, and lo and behold, she was on a blind date for me. A mutual friend had hooked us up. So here's Kelly showing up in my life. I'm 22 years old. She shows up, and she's the exact image of what I had prayed for. Classy, beautiful, stunning to look at. And I thought to myself, no, God, you can't be this good, right? There's no way. This is the first time this is something like this ever happened to me, man. I'm like, there's no way. I just asked for this, and 2 weeks later, it's delivered. All the guys that were there, all the single guys were all, huddled around her. They're trying to go out there and do that. And I'm just sitting
This is my blind date.
I was just sitting back. I was watching and just in awe. I was really in awe, not even thinking much about it, but just thinking, these guys ain't got a chance.
Yeah.
Ain't no way. This is my lady right here.
Mm-hmm.
I know this is my lady. So we go out on our blind date, just coffee with another couple. And we develop this relationship. And she had a tough upbringing herself. Coming from an alcoholic family. Dad was a career Navy man. Had some alcohol issues. They used to have to run for their lives. Dad come home drunk and wanting to cause chaos.
Yeah.
Loved the man dearly, man. The guy turned out to be just an incredible man. I really learned to respect him. But she had that tough upbringing. Her mom raised her pretty much single mom because Dad was either out on a ship somewhere, or when he was home, he was hanging out with his homies and getting drunk.
Yeah.
So there was always that tension in her life. She always had tension. But her mom did just a fantastic job of just making sure that she was stable. She had a good job. Brought her up in knowing who God was. Just gave her independence. She was a very independent woman, and that's what I needed. I needed an independent woman that said, "Hey, I don't need you, bro. You either get your stuff together, or I can find something else."
Yeah.
So, because she was so visual to what I was looking for, I knew she was my wife, and so 6 months later we were married.
Nice.
But I proposed to her twice. I proposed to her in just like a roundabout jokingly way. "Hey man, we ought to get married." "Okay, let's do it."
She's like, you're like, "Wait, what?"
And then I kind of got cold feet thinking, "Oh man, I don't know if I can settle down with just one woman. There's no way." And I started having these second thoughts. But then I came back and said, "Man, this is an answered prayer, Rick. This prayer was for you." So I thought, okay, I'm going to do this. So I re-proposed to her.
Nice.
And then we ended up, I think we had 4 months to plan a wedding, do everything. Most of it was out of pocket, our pocket. Had a lot of friends involved. Just had a beautiful wedding.
Yeah.
So February 28th, 1986, man, I married my answered prayer.
Hell yeah.
And we started a journey together. And man, oh man, did it.
And so it begins.
And so it begins. The man of God you want me to be. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, hang on, man, because I just gave you a little Hispanic lady here that ain't gonna take no BS.
Yeah.
And she will make sure that you become the man of God I need you to be.
Yeah. And y'all jumped into it quick. I mean,
we were 6 months.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean,
6 months we were married.
my wife and I, like same with us, very similar. I mean, a little different, different timeline. You were at 22.
Yeah.
So I was almost a decade older than you
than
than that. So I had to go through a lot of stuff with women to get there. But she was,
I think when I met her, I think I just turned 23. I think I was just there.
Yeah.
So I met her right in September. So yeah, I'd been a month into my 23rd year. And so here I am now, 6 months later. I'm still 23. She's 20 and we're getting married. Bought a house. Right off the bat, didn't tell her I bought it, but I thought it would be a cool deal. Hey, I got this buddy of mine. He's got this house that his dad owns, and he's looking to, owner finance. So what a perfect opportunity, Rick. You can come in there, buy this house for my dad. He'll take your payments. Then you can build up some equity and then refinance it, and then boom, pay him off, and now you're set.
Yeah.
And that's what I did. I bought my first house, owner finance. And unfortunately, because I didn't tell her, she was working all the way out in Downey, and our house was in Corona. And that's about probably just 45 miles away. However, the traffic in Southern California is horrendous. So from our house to her work was taking about an hour and a half to get to work.
So
both ways. So now she's got 3 hours of commute, maybe sometimes 4 hours of commute to and from work. And I'm a contract. I'm in construction, not a contractor yet, but I'm doing construction for a living. So I'm swinging a hammer for a living, and starting to get back into my old mojo with some of my friends. After work, we go have a beer. My wife ain't gonna be home for a while.
Yeah,
Let's
do
go.
it. Yeah, she's
good.
got an hour and a half.
She's gonna be out for a while.
Yeah.
Oh, how about let's go golfing after work? Yeah, we can do that too.
Yeah.
She ain't gonna be home for a while. And I got to become more lazy about my relationship. Started to really dive into the porn, and I just started to cave in. My life started going downhill quick again. I'm thinking, God dang, man, be the man of God you're supposed to be. And here you are, man. Now you're going behind the beads, renting videos. What's up with you, dude? Damn. And I'm thinking, all right, man, I got to fix this. I got to get that out of this. And she would catch me. She would see stuff, and she would start to put pieces together. And so she held me accountable. She started holding me accountable to say, hey, what's going on, man?
Well,
Are you cheating on me?
Not to interrupt, but nowadays it's super accessible. You just get on Pornhub and it's got everything.
Tell me about it.
Back then you had to put in, you had to go rent a VHS.
Back then you had to put on sunglasses and a hat, and kind of go into the video store and look around, and then try to go behind the beads nonchalantly. And
you're like, hey,
the guy comes out, you throw out it was embarrassing.
Yeah.
It really was.
But it grabbed a hold of you.
But it didn't stop me, man. And that's what scared me, is that I was even willing to be embarrassed to have a fix, because there was something inside me that was empty, and I hadn't put a finger on it yet. I hadn't figured it out yet, but I could see that it was destroying my family. It was destroying my wife. So my wife ended up, she got us involved in this group, and it was called Quantum Management. And, it's all about the quantum leap in life. And we got involved with this group, and it changed my life. It started to give me perspective on my commitments. And that was the whole purpose of this program. It was teaching us the power of commitment, the words we use when committed people speak compared to the words that are used when non-committed people speak. And so he was working this with realtors so that they could distinguish between who is a committed buyer and who's a looky-loo. And so he laid everything out, and it dawned on me, I'm not committed.
Yeah. I'm
far from commitment. So I finally come clean with her that, I've been having this little thing going on. Porn was just one of it. The other one was I'd hooked up with an old girlfriend, although nothing had happened. Didn't sleep with her, but I took her out on a date.
No.
And we went out, and, we had some talking to do, and, we kind of seen if the spark would reignite, and maybe I could get down there. Maybe we could have a relationship, but. So
your wife was, she was working far, and then you're not seeing her as much. So you're kind of living more selfishly.
We're real selfish.
Yeah.
But fortunately, and I thank God for this. My ex-girlfriend said, Rick, I've got nothing to lose. You've got a family, you've got a wife. If you do this, you could lose her. She recommended, go home and make your relationship work. Best advice I got, man. Go home and make your relationship work. So I did. I went home. I started making my
good on her.
Yeah, good on her. Way to go, Lisa. Thanks.
Thanks, Lisa.
But man, I went home and I thought, okay, I got to get my relationship with my wife going. But I was still struggling, man. Still having those issues. And as time goes on, she becomes more boisterous in my shortcomings and my indiscretions, because she could still see that there was still this lingering. I still had, every now and then she'd find porn.
Yeah.
Find magazines or something like that. I thought you cleaned this stuff up. I thought you were done with this. Huh? Oh, I'm trying, man. I'm really trying. What she didn't know is I was getting so deep into it now. Now I was actually chasing hookers. Ooh. So it went from porn to now I don't have to go behind the beads no more. I can just go out on the street.
Yeah, she ain't going to find that under the couch.
She's not going to ever see that. And next thing I know, man, I'm to a point where I'm chasing prostitutes out on the street.
Damn.
I'm thinking, dude, what is going on with you? And I'm having this conversation with myself, man, you're balled up. And I finally got to the place where, I was so sick and tired of it. And my wife came to me and she told me, she goes, I hate you. I hate God. I hate the church. I quit. This is 10 years in now. 2 small boys. And I'm just thinking, something's not right. I got to figure this out.
So 10 years in, you've already had 2 sons.
Mm-hmm.
You're still, are you still a contractor? Or
yeah, still a contractor.
You're doing this at that time?
Trying to become a fireman.
It was crazy too, because that's a decade of like this combat in your head of like, you're not committed, but you want to be committed. And then you're going to these like classes or whatever and learning so much value, but you're still not living to that.
Not applying it.
Man, it's just like chaos in your mind.
It is. It's just like, I thought that there was something mentally wrong with me. I really did. I thought, man, you've got the tools, you know the information, you grew up spiritual, you grew up understanding that there's a power higher than yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You prayed for this woman, and 2 weeks later she showed up, and now you're doing this.
Well, people always want to equate addiction to like drugs or like chemical responses. You can be addicted to absolutely anything. That's the crazy part.
Yeah.
But you gotta recognize like, okay, you can be addicted to things in a positive light, but also, I don't know, everything can take a hold of you. I mean, you can say fitness is one of the best things for an individual, but people get so addicted to fitness that it'll like destroy their marriage too.
Right.
Isn't that crazy?
It doesn't have to be a chemical. I mean, the chemical releases in your head.
Yeah.
It's that endorphin rush.
It doesn't have to be nicotine,
but it doesn't have to be an outside drug. I mean, it's the drug in our head that is so prevalent that gives us that energy, gives us that rush, gives us that fix that we're looking for. And so here we are, got 2 beautiful baby boys, 6 and 7. Just Michael was my oldest, and then Kyle was his his little brother, born 18 months younger, and they were like inseparable. And here I got these 2 boys, and my life's going to hell in a handbasket. My wife is going before the church and telling everybody at church what I'm doing.
Damn, she's putting you on blast.
She's putting me on blast big time.
Rightfully so.
Right, absolutely. I deserved every bit of it. And I'm glad she did. But she didn't always get the backing that everybody, they say, well, maybe you just need to do this better. Maybe you just need to be a better wife. Maybe you need to better in bed. Maybe better this, better. And so they were putting more of the responsibility on her.
That's shitty.
It let her, they were putting it on me too. Don't get me wrong. I mean, I was being held accountable, but they were also trying to push her in a direction that maybe you just got to be a little bit better here, better wife or whatever. Maybe not put him so much on blast in front of everybody. Coming down in front of the church and telling people, yeah, my husband's addicted to porn and I don't know what to do anymore. Holy crap.
That's where she should be able to do that.
And that's where she should be able to do that. And it became too much, I think, for some people. But anyway, I knew that there was something that needed to be changed. So I went back to the basics, back to what I was taught, and the power of commitment. I said, okay, I got to get this right. So when she told me those words, I knew I needed help.
Yeah.
And luckily, my mom had read this book by a man named Kenneth Nair. And in that book, it was called How to Understand the Mind of a Woman. And so I read that book. I said, oh, man, now it's starting to make sense. Now I see the role of the wife, and now I know why she's doing what she's doing. She's reflecting who I am. She's putting the mirror up for me. She's letting me see who I am.
Yeah, she's not attacking you.
She's not. Well, she would attack me. Don't get me wrong, man. Kelly could get into it, man. Yeah. She wasn't afraid.
Yeah, I guess in a sense, but like the purpose isn't to like.
Right. It wasn't to condemn, judge, and criticize. It was like, I'm holding the mirror to who you are.
Look at yourself.
Look at who you are.
Yeah.
This is you. And so I learned that my wife was this reflection, and she was there to help reveal the enemy in me. And that's what I prayed for.
Yeah.
Lord, I need a woman that's going to help me become the man of God I need to be. Well, guess what, Rick? You got to see the enemy in you first. You got to deal with the demon. You got to fight that first. And here's what it looks like. And so Kelly just reflected it to me in a way that was so powerful.
The analogy I like to use is like when you're in the bathroom and you have the door shut and you have a hot shower and it's fogged up. Well, then afterward, it stays fogged up. or maybe you keep the shower running, but you keep wiping it and the fog just gets
Come
back
back.
over it. Because you would wipe it and you'd see who you are a little bit, but then it'd fog back up and you'd be back in your ways.
Dude, that
when
is
really all you
powerful.
got to do is open the door and let that steam roll out. Then you can wipe it off and actually see clearly what's in front of you.
That is a great. Now I'm gonna steal that from you, man.
Okay.
I'm gonna use that one.
Deal.
I like that. That is a good analogy because that's what it felt like. It's
Yeah.
like I could see who I was, and then bam, the fog's back on it, man. I'm like, what happened to him? Where'd that dude go? What happened?
Open the door.
Just open the door, Rick. Crack
Simple.
the door open.
And she opened that door for you.
She opened it big time. I ended up, I found that book, read the book, called the author up, called Ken Nair up directly, thinking, man, what are the chances of me getting a hold of an author of this book, But sure enough, man, the dude answered the phone.
Yeah.
And so I had this conversation with Ken on the phone and told him what I needed. And he was living in, I think it was Phoenix, Arizona, and I was in Southern California. So that's like maybe a 4 or 5 hour drive. And he said, well, I'll tell you what, Rick, if you can be at my office every Wednesday for the next 3 years, I will mentor you. And I thought, wow, well, that's a great offer, and I need it. However, I just got hired by the fire department, and I'm in my rookie year, and there's no way I could take off for the next 3 years, especially this next month.
Was this in Anaheim?
Yeah, this was in Anaheim. So, during all that stuff that I'm doing, I'm still swinging a hammer, but I know that I want to do something different. I want to get into the fire service.
Yeah.
So maybe I better start right there real quick because the fire service was my dream from a little kid. I always wanted to do that, but I figured, man, you got booed out of the Army, you got drug history behind you, you got all this baggage. There's no way you're ever going to get hired by the fire department.
Yeah.
There's just no way. So just give up. Plus, you're too white, you're too male, and damn it, you're too old. So just put that out of your mind.
Yeah.
This ain't going to happen. Well, when I went through that quantum management and the power of commitment, it taught me that it doesn't matter what my baggage is. If you're committed, you will get it. There's no guarantee. The only difference is you just can't give up. You got to be persistent. Just don't give up. So it took me 6 years, 27 failure letters before I finally got the offer and got hired by Anaheim. So here I am now. I'm finally in my dream job. I know I need to change, and here I start. But now this guy tells me, "Well, you got to come here every Wednesday." I said, "Well, I can't do that, man. I got obligations, man. For the next year, I cannot miss a day at work. There's no way." I said, "Is there anything else you can offer? Is there anybody else I can speak with? Is there anyone you know that's in my area?" And he says, "You know what? I have a guy that just finished my mentorship, and he lives out in the mountains of San Bernardino. Why don't you give him a call?" I said, "All right." He says, "I'm going to be down in that area, and you may even be able to meet him because I'm going to be in there holding a meeting, and I'll be sharing my book and what we do." And sure enough, Kevin was there. Kevin stood, he's a big old dude. This guy was like 6'6", 6'8". I mean, big, giant man. Big into martial arts. He developed his own martial arts. Guy was just, he was just an intimidating,
impressive,
he was an intimidating man. And I needed that.
Yeah.
I needed somebody who, even though he was a gentle giant, I needed somebody that I wouldn't, want to scrap with.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Going through what I was going through. So anyway, we hooked up with him, and he started a 3-year mentorship program with me. And it was more than just once a week. I mean, it was every day. Every day.
Damn.
I'd be able to call him anytime, any place, and he would help me. And his wife did the same with my wife. And so it was that couple mentoring my wife and I. And we walked through 3 years of transformation. And one of the things he told me is, you've been able to share with me everything that you've been through. You've laid it out online. I know everything about what you've been through and what you've gone through as far as your porn addiction, even the prostitutes. I know all of it. But your wife doesn't. I said, and she ain't going to ever know. There ain't no way in hell I'm telling her any of this stuff, bro.
Yeah.
And he says, well,
she already like hated you at this point, right?
well,
At the beginning of it?
No, this was this was after that 10-year mark, and I'd found the book,
okay.
and now I'm starting to really, okay, now I've got to throw my commitment understanding into this wholeheartedly.
Okay.
And I knew that I needed a mentor.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to be in proximity of people that have what you need, have what you want.
Of course.
Otherwise, you're just going to keep wallowing in the mud.
Mm-hmm.
So I got a guy. His family life was. I mean, I could see the way he treated his wife. I could see the way he had 5 boys, and they were all up in the mountains of San Bernardino. Man, these boys were, they had the adventure of a lifetime up there. And I saw how they respected him as a dad. I saw how he was as a father, as a husband. I said, I need that. That's what I want. I want what you got, man. How to help me get there. So we go through this program with him, and he starts to tell me, because you've done all this stuff, I want you to make me a promise. If you ever feel the Spirit tugging on your heartstrings to expose what you've done, I want you to be honest with your wife and tell her. I thought to myself, no way that's going to happen. But okay, yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
no problem. But it ain't going to happen. But I'll do it, yeah. And we go through almost 3 years into this mentorship, and we've been praying for, to have another baby. And wife finally gets pregnant. Here we are. She's about ready to give birth. I mean, she's not that far. I shouldn't say get ready to give birth. She was probably 5 months into pregnancies, 3-4 months out, something like that. But anyway, she comes to me and says, I want you to tell me everything that you've done. I know that you've got something that you're hiding, and it's got to get off your heart. I'm thinking, look, you got to understand, I've been in some dark places, and it's my past. It's not who I am anymore.
Yeah.
Kevin's helped me see it. I've confessed everything to him. He knows what's happening. He goes, I know. But if you want this relationship to work, I think we need to start on a trustful foundation.
Yeah.
You got to tell me. I said, you don't want to know, Kelly. You don't want to know. Please, let's just leave it there. She said, Rick, if you want to have the relationship that you've always wanted, we've got to be honest with each other. You got to tell me. And I took a deep breath. I said, okay, here goes. Well, I've done this. I've done that. I've slept with hookers. I've slept with, I mean, you think it was just porn. And I laid everything out of line. I told her everything. And I'm thinking to myself, she's going to leave me. And now she's got 2 boys and a baby on the way. And I'm telling her all my baggage.
God, man. That's some heavy shit.
That is, I was trembling, man. I was literally shaking, thinking, why? Why do I got to do this, man? Can't we just put it under it'll be fine. I'm a different man. I'll be okay. So I laid it all out on her, and she accepted it. She took it pretty well. She goes, okay. She goes, now that that's all out, I think we can probably work through this. It's going to take me some time to process it, but I think we can do this.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, oh, praise God. Yeah, right on, man. But the next morning I had to go to work.
Mm-hmm.
And my work was an hour plus away down the hill over to Anaheim, about 45-minute to an hour drive. I get to work, do my thing, call her up that afternoon, that evening, and say, okay, man, how's everything going? And man, she unloaded on me. And I thought, uh-oh, that's what I get for listening to Kevin.
Damn it, Kevin.
I should have never said that. I should have just let it go. She tells me, after thinking about it all night and thinking about it all day, she says, I don't know that I can do this anymore, man. You put me through hell. And now to know that it wasn't just porn, it was with hookers, you had an affair. Dude, not only can I not be married to you, I can't even carry this baby. So now I'm thinking, great. So now I be honest. I tell her everything. And now not only is it she's going to walk out on me now, she's going to possibly abort a baby that we prayed for? You got to be kidding me. So I was pissed. I explained to you how big Kevin was.
Yeah.
And there was a reason I needed a big guy like that in my life.
Yeah.
Because from a distance, I was a brave mofo. I called him up and I chewed him up one side and down. I would never done it to his face. But I chewed him up and I spit him out. And I told him, how dare you interfere with my marriage the way you have, you know? I told you this should have been left alone. This should have never gone down this road. I told you what she was going to do.
You're ready to take it to the grave.
I was ready to take it to the grave. Absolutely. I said, and you said, when the Holy Spirit tells you, I want you to promise me. And I listened to you. I should have never listened to you. I said, you son of a bitch, how could you do this to me? And he let me vent, didn't say one word. He let me go off for, 5-10 minutes, just pouring my heart out, angry, mad. And when it was all said and done, he said these words to me. He said, Rick, if you think God has walked you through all that he's walked you and Kelly through, only to drop you off at the doorstep of an abortion clinic, he goes, you don't know my God. And I just went, well, that's what she said she's going to do, bro. So what do you want me to do? I mean, how else? I'm telling you what she said to me, man.
Yeah.
And he said, you don't know my God. He's powerful. He's bigger than that, Rick. He's bigger than that. You just got to trust him. He said, let her simmer. Let her deal with it. Let her just soak in this for a little bit. We'll walk her through it, and we'll get her on the other side. Trust me, man. You got to trust in who this God is that we have. And I said, man, I sure hope you're right. I sure hope you're right. So I did. I mean, what else am I going to do? I'm nothing. It's out of my control. I mean, anybody ever felt like they're out of control? Well, yeah, I was out of control.
Yeah.
All right, here you go.
Yeah.
I ain't got nothing. So we end up letting her do it, and it ends up that she says, okay, I think we can get through this. So we end up getting through it. My baby was born, my little girl, and our marriage was becoming victorious. And so as a sign and a symbol to what our marriage had become, we named our little girl Victoria. And now
Solid.
I see her, and every time I look at her, I just remember back, man. If you think God would drop you off at the doorsteps of an abortion clinic, Rick, you don't know my God.
Yeah.
And, I thought I should have known that. I mean, after all, this was my answered prayer. I prayed for this woman. God showed up.
Yeah.
Everything gone through my life, he kept showing up. He kept showing up. He kept showing up. And now here it is. I'm at my lowest point thinking she's going to abort the baby. God shows up again. And now I have my gift. I have my blessing.
Yeah.
And so at that point, Kelly and I started to mold ourselves together in a way that is so transformational. It's hard for me to even explain it to people.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing under that table no more. She knows who I am. She knows where I've been. She knows my heart, and she knows what I've struggled with. And she still loves me anyway.
Yeah.
Unconditionally. And that unconditional love can transform any man's heart.
I mean, that's so powerful. I mean, that's something you can't really put into words.
It really can't. I mean, I'm doing my best right here to try to put it into words, and it's still coming up short for me because the emotion that I get inside when I tell this story, this part of it, it's one of, I serve a God that is so greater than me that I don't even know who he is. I can't put him in a box.
Yeah.
I mean, whether that's God to you, whether that's a universe, whatever higher power it is that you serve, this higher power is so much bigger than ourselves. Mm-hmm. We're so small. We're so infinite. And yet, he never did let me down. Lord, help me become the man of God you want me to be.
Yeah.
And I did everything I could to just sabotage that. And yet, here we are.
At the doorstep. You can keep trying.
Of the abortion clinic.
Yeah.
And I find out, yeah, you're still with me. Even after all I've been through, man, you're still there. And it's power. It's what it is. It just gives me power. It fuels me. So we end up, I finished my probation, of course, with Anaheim. And, I'm now into my, my third season with them. I'm starting to feel my own. I go through it. So now my career is going great. I mean, I had just a stellar career. My life turned around. Everything was just going so smooth and so good. We got to the point where even God was connecting with her at a level that I didn't even know he could.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting here meditating in the morning, in prayer, and these things are coming through my head. Like one of them, I have this meditation where I'm in this pit, and I'm trying to crawl out of this pit. My wife's with me, and she's hanging on, and we're crawling out of the pit. And every time we put our hands in the next handhold and the foot in the next foothold, there's these creatures trying to pull us in. And this is going on. I mean, I'm wide awake, but I'm in a meditation, and this is what I'm seeing in my head. And then I get up out of the pit, and I'm looking out, and I finally climb up out of it. And as I climb up out of the pit, and I'm looking away, and I'm surveying the land to make sure everything's safe, I turn around, I look back at my wife, and all I see is this. She's just watching me from inside the pit.
Same thing, yeah.
She's not getting out. And she's just watching me. And I turn around and say, baby, it's okay. You can come out. It's safe now.
That's cool.
She comes up out of it. And I thought, oh, that was weird. What am I supposed to do with this? Next thing I hear, go tell your wife what you just saw. I think, man, I'm not going to tell my wife what I just saw, man. It's 5 in the morning. I'm getting ready to go to work, and she's sound asleep. I'm not going to say anything. Just go tell her. Go tell her what you saw. All right, man. So I'm going to rattle her up out of sleep. Baby, I know it's going to sound weird, but I have to tell you what I just had an experience about. So I tell her the whole thing, and she starts crying. I look at her, what are you crying? What's the matter? She goes, that was my dream last night. I said, what? She said, that was my dream last night. I dreamt what you just told me. And now I'm just freaking out. I'm going, oh, man, this God is bigger than any of us.
Yeah.
Man. Holy crap.
What is happening?
What is going on? Rick, you are going insane. There's something wrong with you. This ain't normal. And I thought, okay, well, what does that mean? You know, so I'm trying to process it. Well, come find, that was our way of saying, look, you guys have been in the pit of hell for a long time.
Yeah.
And now you've climbed out, and now everything is out there for you to create whatever you want. You are unlimited. You can create whatever life you want now. You're out of the pit. Think, okay, that's cool. That's cool. And so then we fast forward. Now my little girl, she's probably in the first grade or something, maybe kindergarten, first grade. And I'm driving to work every other day. I had a 24-hour shift. So I'd work for 24 hours and come home for 24 hours. Yeah. Work for 20, come back for 24. And I drive by this sign. Sign says LA Porn Convention. He gave the dates, you know. Come see us at the LA Porn Convention. So
Like, oh shit.
I'm driving by that and I hear this voice. I want you to go there. I'm like,
You're like, who's that?
I'm laughing. I go, no, that ain't gonna happen. No, man, dude, no. So go to work, come back the next day. Next morning, get up, go to work, drive by that sign. I want you to go there. Nope, ain't doing it. This went on for 7 days. So 4 full shifts. So go there, I'd hear that same voice. And finally, I'm on days off now, and it's the day of the porn convention. And I'm at home by myself watching my daughter. And I get this experience that I feel like God's not even in my life right now. I feel so empty right now. I've been used to having this feel so real, and now all of a sudden I feel nothing. So I just asked, said, what's going on, Lord? You don't expect me to go there, do you? He says, well, you're not being obedient. I need you to go there. I have someone I want you to meet. And those were the words that came to my head. I go, you have someone you want me to meet at a porn convention? Lord, there's no way. You saw what porn did to my life. It nearly destroyed me. It destroyed my marriage. My daughter was almost not born because of it. I said, there's no way. How am I going to ever explain this to my wife? Yeah, sure, yeah. God told you to go to a porn convention. Okay, yeah, got it. So I just thought, man, there's no way, God. So I said, well, if that's the case, then you're going to have to figure out some way for my daughter to have someone take care of her, because I'm the only one here. My wife's at work. What are you going to do?
Yeah.
And next thing I know, I get a phone call. And it's my buddy Jaime. And Jaime says, hey, Rick, since the girls are off school today, I got the girls with me, and we're going to go to this pizza joint that they used to hang out with and play games. We'd like to know if Victoria would like to come with us. And I go, okay, all right, that sounds okay. I said, so, like when? And he goes, like right now. I said, what do you mean right now? I go, where are you? He goes, I'm in your driveway. Remember, I just said, Lord, if this is what I'm supposed to do, you're going to have to take care of my daughter because I don't have no one to watch her. Jaime was already in my driveway. And he tells me, I'm in my driveway. And I said, okay, this is a sign, man. Okay, I got to go to the porn convention. Oh, Lord, how am I going to do this? So I let Tori go, and I get in the car. And in the meantime, I was asking, what do you want me to do while I'm there? And he said, I just want you to read your Bible. That's all I want you to do. Just read your Bible. I said, okay, well, I can do that. But that's all I'm doing. I ain't going to do nothing else. I'm just going to read my Bible. He goes, that's all I need you to do. I got someone there I want you to meet. So I drive down there. I'm not kidding you, Joe. I was trembling.
I can imagine.
I was trembling, shaking. I mean, not just like barely. I mean, literally, I was trembling.
I'm sure there's like some thought in your head that was, man, is this God or is this evil seeping its way in? You probably had that second guess. Like, are you sure this is it? Like,
it was like, okay, am I
being tricked?
Yeah, it's exactly right. Am I being deceived?
Yeah.
That's what I thought. I thought the deceiver in me is coming out and exposing himself as the God.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, okay, man, well, I got to test it because so far, every time he's shown it to be right. So I did. I get there and I decide, well, I'm going to not go where everybody is necessarily. I'm going to go off there to the corner where I'm there.
Yeah.
You told me to come here. I'm here.
Yeah.
But I'm not where I probably should be if I'm really testing what's going on here. So I'm sitting off on the corner by myself and I'm reading my Bible and this lady comes up to me and she goes, what are you doing? I said, I'm reading my Bible. She goes, here? I said, yeah. She goes, do you know where you are? I said, yeah, I'm at the LA porn convention. She goes, well, why are you reading your Bible in an LA porn convention? I said, man, I don't even know. I said, but here's the deal. I feel like God is telling me I need to be here. And there's somebody that I'm supposed to meet. Are you the one I'm supposed to meet? And she laughs. She goes, no, I'm not here. I'm not part of the porn industry. I'm here covering the industry. And I didn't even think anything of it. And she goes off to go to her car to get some stuff. But before she left, she says, well, if God's speaking to you to be here to do this, why don't you go over there where everybody is so everybody can see what you're doing? No, you don't understand. I don't want to do that. I just want to stay here. She goes, no, really. If this is something you feel God is calling you to do, go make yourself known. I thought, okay. So she goes off to her car, gets whatever she's doing, and I go to make myself known. I go out there in the middle of everything. And man, it was a show.
You get haggled? Or people messing with you?
Oh, yeah. Here's this guy sitting there reading his Bible. I'm up one of these big pilasters, and I'm just sitting there and I'm reading my Bible. And I've got ladies coming up and, showing their wares. This one lady jumps in front of me. I'm sitting, as far as you are from me. And she just spread eagles, man. Just opens her stuff up and just trying to get me to look and gawk. And I'm just like in the Bible, like, dude, Rick, you know better than this. And I just looked at her and I laughed and I said,
it's kind of funny to visualize.
Yeah.
It's pretty funny. I'm like, oh God, what a scene.
And it's everywhere. This is the porn industry. There are porn actors. There are, you name it, they're all there.
Yeah.
And so I'm not even paying any attention to her. I look up to her and I nod my head to her and go, you know what, honey? I said, I'm not interested.
Yeah.
I said, I'm not interested. Oh, are you sure? I bet you I can get you. I'm not interested. And then she'd leave, and then another lady would come out. And this was just going on. And I'm thinking, what am I doing here, man? God. Then this guy comes up to me, and he goes, hey, you're a believer. We got to go upstairs where all the action is, and we got to hand out these pamphlets, and we got to get these women saved. And I go, no, time out, bro. I said, that's not what I'm here to do. I said, I'm not going up them stairs. Tell you that. I'm not going up them stairs. And number two, I'm only here to read my Bible. I don't know what you're here to do, but you go do what you got to do. I'm staying put, and this is what I'm up to. He goes, well, at least let's pray. And I go, sure, man. If you want to pray with me, go for it. So I stand up, and we start praying. Next thing I know, he says, they're coming. And I'm like, dude, who's coming? We're in the middle of a prayer. My head's bowed, my eyes are closed, and you're telling me they're coming? And I'm looking, I go, who's coming? He goes, they're coming. And he takes off. He leaves me. And he goes up them stairs. He didn't even want to stick around for it. So I thought, oh my God. So I sit back down at the pilaster, and sure enough, it was the lady that I had first saw. I said, why don't you go over there where all those people are? And she comes up to me and she kneels down. She goes, remember me? I said, yeah, I remember you. I said, you're the one that told me, come on over here. She goes, yeah. She says, my name is Lisa Ling, and I'm with the Oprah Winfrey Show, and I'd like to interview you. And now I'm thinking, I'm going to be interviewed on Oprah Winfrey? There's no freaking way. There's no way.
Yeah.
I said, all right. This is what I'm thinking.
And your wife didn't even know you were
My
there.
wife didn't know I was there.
Oh, God.
So I'm thinking, okay, fine. That's cool. I said, let's have it, man. So she interviews me. And she's saying stuff like, sexual freedom is what some people would say is what allows women to be free. As long as, this gives them their freedom. This gives them what they deserve. This gives them what they need. And she goes on, and what do you think about that? And I said, I suppose if people like that are, that's what they think, but I'm not sure I agree with it. She goes, well, are you here to condemn them? I said, well, no, I'm not here to condemn anyone. I said, if I condemn any one of these people here, I got to first condemn myself. I said, because I'm probably the worst. So no, I'm not here to condemn them. She goes, well, what are you here for? I said, quite frankly, I'm not even sure. I said, but here's the deal. They look at this porn industry as freedom, as life. But in reality, there's only one living water that brings forth life, and that's Jesus Christ. And I had just been in John 4, I believe it is, that talks about the woman at the well. And she was a prostitute. She had, slept with many men. She had lived with 5 different men. And here she has this encounter with Jesus at the well at noon, the hottest time of the day, when all the other women had got there early in the morning before the heat came. But she was so ridiculed. She was so broken. She was so humiliated. She had to go over there in the heat of day when everybody else was gone because she was that destroyed as a woman. So I got to speak to all these people. Now, this is a boom mic, cameras, the full-on Hollywood production is coming at me, and they're having this interview.
Yeah.
And I'm looking out across this audience, and everybody starts to gather around. So now I've got everybody's attention, and I'm unloading on them the story of the woman at the well. Now, I don't know who it hit. I don't know where it landed, but I know I got to share a story about a broken woman and where she went to find true living water. Mm. And now all these women who are broken out there got to hear that message. And then when it was all said and done, I started to thinking, how am I going to tell this to my wife? How am I going to explain to my wife that I'm at a porn convention in LA?
You got to be Oprah to it for sure.
Well, I figured the first thing I got to do is I got to call her right now. I can't hold on to it. I can't wait. I got to tell her right now. So I immediately called my wife right after everything was done. And I said to her, honey, you're not going to believe where I am. She goes, you're at the LA porn convention. And I thought, was this a live interview?
Yeah, right.
Holy cow, man. Am I on the Oprah Winfrey Show right now? I said, how did you know that? And she said, well, every day I drove into work, there was this sign. It said LA porn convention, just like I saw. She said, and every day I drove by that sign, I would hear the voice of God say, Rick's going to go there, but don't worry.
So she knew.
He's going there for me. Yeah. So she knew. She knew that I was going there and I had a purpose to be there. And I ended up trying to figure out, what does all this mean? And what my wife, I said, so you think I'm going to be on the Oprah Winfrey Show? I mean, this is going to be cool, man. I'm going to be on the Oprah Winfrey Show. This is going to be awesome. And she says, no, she said, I don't think this has anything to do with Oprah Winfrey. She says, I am kind of disappointed in you, though. And I said, why are you disappointed? She said, you didn't think God spoke to me? I mean, you just didn't think I had a relationship with God, that you're the only one that has this relationship and he doesn't speak with me? Rick, God's been speaking with me from day one, just like he's been speaking with you. I don't know what it is that you thought he was doing, but I'm disappointed that you didn't have enough courage to tell me this is what you were going to do.
Yeah.
And I said, you know what, honey, you're absolutely right. And I apologize. I said, but man, coming from where I've been, how do I explain to you that God is telling me to go to a porn convention? How do you do that? I said, I just didn't trust it enough.
Yeah.
And I obviously didn't trust you enough to know that you would understand. And I apologize. I'm sorry. And that was the turning point where from then on out, Kelly and I were like this. We were bound together in a spiritual connection that we rode that wave for the next several years, just enjoying that connection that we had with one another. And it turned our lives around in a different way. It turned us into such spiritual people. And we were still in religion. Don't get me wrong. We were still in it. But I go and I would tell my friends that. I at the time, I'd had a ministry that I had started called the Band of Brothers. It was all people struggling with porn and alcohol. It didn't matter what, but primarily it was porn. And we had started this ministry. And I went and I asked every one of those guys in that group. I said, I'm going to give you something. If this happened to you, what do you think? Would you go? And every one of them said, there ain't no way I'd go there. Are you kidding me? That's the enemy, man. That's the devil. He's coming after you, bro. I wouldn't be going there. Everyone I asked, everyone, without one agreement, every single one said, there's no way I'd go. No way I'd go. And what that taught me was that often in our lives, there are things that we are absolutely dead set against, that we cannot go, we cannot participate, we cannot be around. But there's always something bigger if you learn to just have enough faith and trust that there is someone bigger than ourselves calling us to do things that require faith. And faith isn't just going to church. Faith ain't just singing songs. Faith ain't just praying. It ain't doing all the rituals. Faith is getting out of your comfort zone and doing the impossible.
You know, it goes to say, like, I said it on a podcast not long ago, how strong is your conviction if it stands on stilts? You know, like, but you build a solid foundation by testing things. Right. And so, you know, faith, regardless of what you believe in, to truly have that strength and conviction and really be honed in on it, man, a lot of people think it's just saying what you are, saying what you believe.
Yeah, just saying the words.
And because of that, you'll have a comfortable life. But I feel like those words, just saying this and that, don't really do a whole lot.
They're empty.
Because God as a whole knows what's within you.
Right.
Everybody else may not. You could say all the things and say all the beautiful words, and they'll be like, you know what, he's right. But like only that power understands what's in your heart, what's in your soul. And one thing I've understood, and you know, I was thinking about this as you were talking, are tests. And I think if you're a person that lacks true faith and conviction, things will be a little bit more comfortable. But I think if you truly take it upon yourself to become what you truly are asking for, or praying for, because I've had some things, you know, that have happened that are like, I want to represent what I believe in. I want to lead by that example. What has followed that has been multiple tests that have made me question that, but only built that strength for my faith and my beliefs even more. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
And so it's like along the way, what I've recognized, because, you know, listening to you is like same thing. Like you asked to be this man of God. And from that, God's like, okay, this is what you want? Well, I'm going to test you hard. And he threw some freaking curveballs at you. But you seeing it through along the way has brought you to the higher road. Exactly. And that's my understanding of it as well. Like along my journey, it's been just like the tests that only build that strength and don't throw you away from it.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right.
You know?
And life is like that. Life is always throwing curveballs at us.
Yeah.
And we can either look at those curveballs as being victimized by it, or we can be victorious over it. So
we're going to keep swinging.
We can keep swinging. Just keep swinging. Hey, you may not hit the curveball just right this time, but I tell you what, if you get in the cage and you have nothing but curveballs thrown at you, pretty soon you become better at curveballs than you do fastballs.
Yep. And then it's over the freaking
Then
fence.
there's nothing they can throw by you.
Yeah.
And so that's what this was all about. This was a crucible that was testing me, and it was also building me.
It fires me up.
It was like, this was my gym. This is where I was going to the gym in my mind.
Yeah.
I was getting connected with God at such a deep level that I was allowing him to test me and challenge me and go in directions that nobody else was willing to go. And I don't hold that against them. Believe me, I am not saying that they were fault at that. I'm just saying, coming from an addictive perspective, you pick the drug of choice, whatever it is, you're going to be tested and challenged, and people are going to condemn you when you fall. But when you fall, it's just a matter of getting back up and getting better at it. Okay, I fell this time, but the next time that comes out, this is how I'm going to handle it. Mm-hmm. And you just keep honing your skill set. You keep honing your craft. And pretty soon you get adept. Okay, this is how God has been leading me. So if this is the direction, when I hear that voice now, I'm listening. I'm going, okay, you've proven yourself time and time again that this is the voice I need to listen to, even when I didn't think it was, even when everybody else said it wasn't, even when everyone told me that it was the enemy. You got to hone in on that. So I was honing in on that, and Kelly and I were surfing this wave, man. We were having an incredible journey. People were coming out of the woodworks, coming to talk to us about their marriages. People were coming about addiction, and they were all coming to me. I mean, at the church I was attending at the time, I was known as the guy that could take you in a crisis marriage, and we could walk you through it. So I had phone calls in the middle of the night, people walking out, and they would call me. They weren't calling the pastors to say, hey, you go over there and handle that. No, let Rick handle it, man. That guy's already proven that he can do it.
Because he has experience.
He has the experience, and he's got it in his own life. So let him. So I was basically the guy to go to if someone was struggling with porn or addiction or their marriage and they were in crisis.
How cool is that?
It was very cool. It gave me a sense of, it solidified my prayer. Lord, I want to be the man of God you want me to be. And here was
you're living it.
I'm living it, man.
Yeah.
My prayer is answered. This is it.
Yeah.
And so as high as that was, I started having more of those conversations with God, and it started getting tougher. I thought that was going to be enough. No. I was in meditation. I heard, now this is, fast forward a few years now. I hear, your family is going to suffer tragedy because of one of your kids. And I knew right away that meant one of my kids is dying. And in court, I discovered what she heard was Michael's last words. Help me. Somebody help me. Those words run through a father's mind. I wasn't there for him.